Hi everyone, it's Brian, and today I'm going to do a contest entry for Deep Track Zach for his 1,000 subscribers contest. Now, to be completely honest, I have only subscribed to that channel for about a week, and I subscribed to it when I had seen some videos of people entering this particular contest. I was unaware of the channel before that, so I signed up, and I'm going to enter this contest, which is about 1972. So the contest is to show 3 to 5 records that are your favorites from 1972. I've chosen 4, and I wouldn't say they're my top 4, but they're 4 favorite records from 1972. And the contest closes on May the 15th. So I'm going to start with a record that was recorded live in 1970, but released in 1972, and that's Velvet Underground live at Max's Kansas City. This is pressing from Canada. I'm never sure if people are interested in pressing details, but this is a Canadian pressing of this record. So when I was a younger person, I assumed that Max's Kansas City was in Kansas City, but it's actually in New York, as I discovered much later. On this particular record, it's not the initial Velvet Underground lineup. So after the second Velvet Underground record, as many people will already know, John Cale left or was asked to leave. I'm not sure which that is. And on the fourth Velvet Underground record, Maureen Tucker wasn't available because she was on maternity leave. So on this record, we only have Lou Reed, Sterling Morrison, and then 2 fill-ins. Doug Yule, who joined on the third record from Velvet Underground, and then his brother Billy, who joined for this particular record. So it's actually pretty good. I really like this record. Max's Kansas City was apparently a favorite hangout of Andy Warhol, and if you know something about Andy Warhol, you will know that he was the manager of the Velvet Underground. He did the artwork for the first record. In fact, his name is on the jacket, and he produced, I think, 4 tracks on the first Velvet Underground record. So he was very important. I think he was also the person who encouraged them or brought Nico into the band. So it's hard to talk about the Velvet Underground without talking about Andy Warhol. So for the second record, I'm going to pick a record that's closely associated with the Velvet Underground, and that's John Cale. And I've mentioned this record before. This is The Academy in Peril, John Cale's second solo record. There was a record before this that he did with Terry Riley, but this is his second solo record. So John Cale, obviously from the Velvet Underground. This album cover was done by Andy Warhol, who also did, as I just mentioned, did the cover for the first Velvet Underground record. And this is the original promo, which has a die-cut sleeve. I think that once this was released commercially, it didn't have that die-cut anymore, but it was brought back for the more recent reissues. If you know the album songs for Drella that Lou Reed and John Cale did in 1990, you will know that John Cale narrates a song called The Dream, in which he mentions that Warhol was unhappy with the fact that this was changed to color because the original conception of this was to be a black and white cover. So this is I guess you call it an avant-garde record. It borrows from John Cale's classical training. You can see the promo stamp there on the back. There's also a promo sticker that's inside the sleeve. This is not really a rock record. It's pretty interesting. There's a bit of comedy on it. Legs Larry at Television Central is kind of funny. Days of Steam is a fantastic song, but I'm including it because of the Velvet Underground connection with the first record and the Andy Warhol connection. So for the third record, I think you'll probably guess where I'm going with this. I'm going to choose Lou Reed's Transformer from 1972, obviously from the Velvet Underground. This is his second post-Velvet record, probably his best record, and unless you've been living on another planet, I'm sure you know Walk on the Wild Side. Vicious is on here, Perfect Day, Side I Love. This was a very popular record. Interestingly enough, Andy Warhol was an inspiration for the song Vicious because, according to Reed, he was told by Warhol that he should write a song about someone being vicious, and Lou Reed says, "What do you mean?" He says, like you hit someone with a flower. That became vicious. The other thing many people will already know is that David Bowie and Mick Ronson were heavily involved in this record. They co-produced the record, and Bowie sings backing vocals on a couple of tracks, and both of those people play some of the instruments on this record. That's my third choice from 1972, the Velvet Underground connection. And for the last one, I chose probably one of the best records from 1972. and that is David Bowie's The Rise of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. And I chose this because, according to Bowie, Lou Reed was an influence on the character Ziggy Stardust. It depends on the story you read, but there is a theory that the concept was kind of a melding of the personas of Iggy Pop and Lou Reed to come up with the character of Ziggy Stardust. And of course, these two would later in the year play on the Transformer record. So Mick Ronson is also on this record. Apparently, David Bowie's U.S. premiere happened in a back room at Max's Kansas City, where Bowie met Bruce Springsteen, Iggy Pop, and also Andy Warhol. So that's a bit of a tie in here. So I thought I'd put 4 records that I guess you could say are linked or have some common elements to them. So that's 4 from 1972, and now I am going to look at some videos from Deep Track Zach, because I actually haven't seen more than 2, so I will do that, and encourage you to subscribe if you haven't done so already. And once again, thanks for watching.